Let me start out by saying this episode of Tales of the Walking Dead, episode 5, titled Davon. This was the best episode of the show so far to me. Um, the whole concept of the episode and the whole acting of the episode was phenomenal to me. Um, let me give you sort of the plot of the episode. Um, it was about the character Davon. He was a young black male. Um, something happened to him. No, they start out the episode. He had a big gash on his head, and he was kind of in and out. You could tell he had a concussion, and most of his memories were blurry. And he was thinking about um, dang it, I don't know why I always forget the other characters' names, but the woman, hold on, let me find her name, then I'll jump back in. Okay, that's what it is. Something happened to him in the forest, something happened to his leg. Um, he got real badly injured, and Amanda took him in, and they had to amputate the leg, and for 7 weeks he lived with them on, and he was they were taking care of him for that 7 weeks. And over the time he fell in love with Amanda's sister, Nora. And he was doing pretty good. And bear in mind they were descendants from the early French settlers in Maine. Um, and so his memory was on and off coming to him, and he was thinking about what had happened. They were accusing him of murder, and he didn't even know what he did. So it turns out Amanda's son was kidnapping the children of they, I guess, what would you call it? Um, they town. Amanda's son was kidnapping the children of their town, killing them, as he called it, a mercy kill. He was killing the children of the town because he said no child deserves to grow up in that type of environment. I understand that. And Amanda was trying to protect her son, even though he was killing the children of the town, and he was about to kill her nephew as well, Nora's son, and she was defending her son. And when Davon eventually caught up and recovered a lot of his memories, he went down there and caught where they had all the children, and he got into an argument with Amanda, and he put her head in some acid or something. And so that's why at the beginning of the episode they was accusing him of murder and stuff, for killing Amanda, and killing all the children. And eventually, at the end, they did find out that Amanda's son was the one who was killing the children. When Devon managed to rescue Nora's son from him, and Nora's son told that it was actually Amanda's son who was killing all the children. You know, he had been drove crazy. He talked about growing up in that community would drive people crazy. So yeah, and now let me tell how I feel about this episode. This episode was the best episode so far. And I'm looking at this, and this episode was written by the same person who wrote episode 3, which was my second favorite episode, which it tells the backstory of Alpha. This episode, they need to have this person, Channing Powell, which is his name, huge ups to him because he wrote the best 2 episodes in this series. I don't know how episode 6 gonna be, but episode 5 was my favorite episode. And I know I'm leaving some stuff out, but this is not to tell the entire episode. This is to give my review. This was my favorite episode. Now, was it a perfect episode? No, it wasn't a perfect episode, but this was my favorite episode so far. And just the acting of it, the whole um plot of the episode, the whole setting of the episode, they were in kind of like old rundown French settler town in Maine. You know, the people were eccentric. The buildings were eccentric. They the way they raised their children was eccentric. Uh, this episode, I would like to see, you know, a lot more of this area. This area in this small town in Maine was the best setting of this series so far. And how the way they played with the way the actor for Davon played his role, the way the actor for Amanda played her role, and Nora played her role, and 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 it Amanda's son, what I'm looking at here, was named Ar Ahmad. The way he played the role, and just tried to turn everything around on Devon at the end. And I was sitting there saying to myself, you know, those you hadn't seen me, I'm black. And I was saying to myself, Devon, you done messed up going into this community with all these French settlers. I'm just saying something going on, but he did fall in love, bringing Nora strawberries and stuff throughout the. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, you bring her strawberries, and she done one of the one who accused you, and you can tell at the end that he was upset because he said, when y'all was gonna kill me, and was y'all even gonna feel bad? You know, this episode was, I wouldn't say perfect, but it was a great episode. So on my rating, out of 10, I'll give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. No other episode has been as good as this episode. Channing Powell, you wrote this episode, and you wrote episode 3, the 2 best episodes of this series. And this one even surpassed episode 3. I've give you props. In this episode, they need to give you a chance at the lead writer on this show. And I think he is the only one who wrote more than one episode on this series so far. Y'all need to give Shannon Powell the hand on the writer, the head writer. Make him the head writer on this show because he done had the best 2 episodes. But episode 5, Davon, this episode was great. 8.5 out of 10. And I hope the next episode is as good or even surpass this episode. But this episode was great.